Oh, I'm on the front page, dude. What the hell? Okay. People don't exercise media literacy when it comes to mainstream news, which is ironic because that's a big part of what I do, right? This is also part of the reason why I constantly rail on the New York Times, especially the paper of record, the Gray Lady, because my expectation is that they're supposed to uphold a very important standard, especially in a time when people need good news, like good newspaper coverage, good journalism more than ever, right? But a big part of what I do is to, one, go through the misinformation that is all around the internet and parse through it, and then try to explain to you what parts of these misinformation, what kind of narratives are developing online, what kind of narratives are developing in the media, and to show you through real journalism and critical thinking what is actually going on, so you can develop a better framework, right? And this pisses off a lot of people. What? Who's your manager? I want to hire them. You're doing so well. None of this is because of my management. I don't have like a PR person. This is entirely because people reach out, okay? These are journalists who themselves reach out, or editorial teams themselves who reach out. Like, I love my management, and my management is great, but this is just people directly reaching out to do interviews. Like, you're calm down. It's the New York Times. You're acting like it's Global Times or CGTN. Okay, calm down. In any case, a progressive mind and a MAGA body. The title is, okay, the editor, Hasanabi Head, who's an editor in the chat, was not wrong. This is the title, because she said the title is kind of cringe, but the article is actually pretty good. And yeah, let's do it. Certain someone is convinced someone is paying off all these journalists to make puff pieces about you. Yes, dude, it's Qatar. Okay, it's Qatar. I control the media. Okay, I control the media. I have my tentacles in all of these outlets, dude. It can't be that like adult journalists that simply know more than a dumbass YouTube drama slop tube channel have their own convictions, and perhaps maybe even see me as an entry point to basically evade the pre-existing censors within these institutions, you know? But yeah, no, it's not that. It's not that, you know, adults that have their own, you know, that have their own perspectives on these issues don't see what I'm saying in 30-second increments and then place themselves in a paranoid state and instead understand what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I control the media. So a progressive mind and a MAGA body. Article headline is not the best. Okay, article headline is not, you know, it's kind of weird because I feel like MAGA body, that's going to piss off a lot of people. I think what they meant there wasn't necessarily like your physical body. I think what they were saying is like MAGA packaging. You know what I mean? I think that would have been probably a better title for this instead of a progressive mind and a MAGA body. If they said progressive mind and a MAGA package or something, or in a bro package or a manosphere package, that makes a little bit more sense. But they condensed the headline, and I'm going to explain to you guys how these sorts of news bits happen, how these sorts of puff pieces or profiles take place. Hopefully, this will be educational. I'll tell you like what, you know, some parts that are left out of it versus like what the editorial process looks like to the best of my ability. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not, you know, I'm not talking to the journalists who wrote this piece beyond whenever they call in for follow-ups, right? So articles written by Jack Crosby. He's very cool. He's a very chill guy. He is, you know, he's a leftist, obviously. Mostly writes in the Rolling Stones. He's written all around, however. And originally, the article is supposed to be like a major profile, but then obviously a lot of these other articles start coming in. Slate.com drops an article, and then obviously that kind of like cooks their angle because like everyone is trying to go for the same angle. And then the New York Magazine piece came out, and that was a very long profile. So then that causes them to like push it back, restructure the article a little bit, and ultimately you arrive at this framing. right? But in any case, remember, the journalist doesn't choose the title. And the journalist doesn't even actually choose, in most circumstances, like journalists will have feedback on which direction the article will go in, but they don't necessarily control the way that the article is going to be presented, right? That's the editorial team's decision. And let's be real, the New York Times' editorial team is not necessarily, now this is the style section, so it's different, but the New York Times' broader editorial team is probably not super fond of me. Like, they probably see me as an ally for being a unique figure in the space that is a progressive figure, like unconditionally progressive figure, if not a radical one, in a space that is dominated by, far right extremism, right? But outside of that, they do see that this is like, I'm clearly doing something that is unique enough for them to be like, let's offer this some coverage. But here it is. Hasan Piker pumps iron, likes weapons, and wears pearls. His brand of masculinity is one of many fans online and has been a useful vehicle for his politics. Hasan Piker has become a star on Twitch and YouTube for hosting hours-long video streams that cover cultural topics like fitness, gaming, and fashion, as well as his socialist politics. By Jack Crosby. Hasan Piker thinks being a man is simple. Like many of his successful internet personalities who appeal to a generation of young men, Mr. Piker, a 33-year-old Twitch and YouTube streamer, is a bro. He likes weapons, inhales supplements, uses nicotine pouches, and ruminates endlessly on the legacy of LeBron James. But unlike many of his contemporaries, Mr. Piker, an avowed socialist, is just as at ease dressing in French-made drag as he is on a basketball court. In the 6 years since he started his daily online broadcast about culture and politics, Mr. Piker has become a streaming star. He has about 4.5 million followers combined on YouTube and Twitch, the platform wildly popular with Americans who came of age during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most reductive way, it just comes down to confidence. That's what people are talking about when it comes to masculinity, Mr. Piker said in an interview. They're talking about confidence. That confidence carries over into Mr. Piker's discussions of politics. On his streams, conversations about dating, gaming, or exercising often turn into rants supporting organized labor, universal healthcare, LGBTQ rights. He will just as frequently pivot from criticizing the Democratic Party or the Israeli government to slamming right-wing comedians. This fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Mr. Piker a Joe Rogan of the left, if Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Mr. Piker in his studio earlier this year, he knows his success on camera has been partly aided by the way he looks. Mr. Piker's success on camera, in some parts, has been aided by the fact that he is, by conventional standards, a very handsome man. He's 6 feet 4 inches tall and built like a professional athlete with a square jaw, a beard, and a head of thick, dark hair. It's the one aspect that many of my haters can't shake, Mr. Piker said of his appearance on a Twitch broadcast last year. They can't turn around and be like, you're not hot. His physique is the result of an intense fitness regimen that on a sunny morning in January involved repeated sets of squats with a 275-pound barbell, Romanian deadlifts, and walking lunges. Dude, that's it. I'm in the paper of record as being a hottie. It's over. It's ironic because, like a lot of those Sigma Grindset guys are constantly talking about regimens and being an alpha dog, Mr. Piker said, referring to subjects of memes about masculinity that are commonplace in right-wing discourse online, I do live that life, he added. But then I have the diametrically opposite politics, protected by jock insurance. Indeed, tens of thousands of viewers may watch his videos for his political views, but so many also tune in for the view of Mr. Piker himself, whose social media profiles are littered with suggestive images of his muscly body in states of undress. What the heck is this? That's crazy. Or thirst traps, as the pictures are known. Some of his fans scrape, screenshot, clip, and repackage them into fan cams that travel across the internet, glorifying Mr. Piker's appearance and indirectly his beliefs. Emma Morgan, a 27-year-old researcher, is among them. A lot of people are just really shallow online, Ms. Morgan said. There's a stigma of, if you care about marginalized people, if you care about these issues, you must be a weak, basement-dwelling dude. If I have to make a fan cam to radicalize people, she added, then I will. The Hasanabi Thirst Talk Clips Industrial Complex gets a shout-out here. Yep, lit up Emma. Mr. Piker approaches getting dressed with the same meticulousness as he does working out. Each day he streams, he typically posts a selfie of his outfit before he starts. His clothing choices can sometimes be as provocative as his opinions. On a recent trip to Japan, Mr. Piker wore a tight French maid's outfit, a pair of fuzzy cat ears, and a demure string of pearls while streaming from one of the country's maid cafes. During a Twitch stream in 2023, Mr. Piker asked viewers to participate in a live demographic survey. Those who did offered a sense of his audience. About 70% of the participants identified as male, more than 60% identified as being younger than 30, and about 40% identified as having a orientation other than straight. Mr. Piker benefits from jock insurance. I've never heard this before, but it makes perfect sense, by the way, after I read the article. Said Tristan Bridges, a sociologist who studies masculinity and gender at the University of California, Santa Barbara. The term is used to describe how men with a lot of masculine gender capital are generally given more leeway to do things like challenge norms and make mistakes, he added. For an appearance at the 2024 TwitchCon convention, Mr. Piker wore a tank top that showed off his arms. The jocks are allowed to break the rules and not have a consequence for it, or not have consequences for it, Mr. Bridges said, adding that Mr. Piker's idea of masculinity was less rigid than more traditional versions centered on the belief that America was easier and better when everybody played the roles they were designed to play. Jordan Dean, a 19-year-old gender study student who follows Mr. Piker, said that the part that he plays up the most is definitely that he's a bro, cisgender, heterosexual white guy. Mr. Dean, a transgender man, added, watching him be comfortable painting his nails, wearing dresses, is not revolutionary things, but he's showing that it's okay to be a cis guy and experiment with gender presentation. Gains, guns, and gay culture. Mr. Piker typically streams from a studio at his home in West Hollywood, California, a modern townhouse he shares with Kaya, his Bernese Mountain Dog mix that weighs more than 100 pounds. He can spend up to 10 hours a day recording in a studio where there are no fewer than 10 swords and shells festooned with video game art and other knickknacks. There's also a black assault rifle, which Mr. Piker was quick to note was fake. It's airsoft, he said. I like guns, but I would never keep one in the house. Or would I? While Rogan's podcasts typically feature interviews with guests that meander into politics, Mr. Piker often approaches the topic alone on solo streams. Although he has recorded with the likes of Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Representative AOC of New York, last year he streamed from the DNC. Mr. Piker disagrees with the comparisons to Rogan and has characterized what each does as being completely different. His marathon streaming sessions are fueled partly. This is one of the things that I actually said to the journalist was I ironically am the inverse Joe Rogan in the sense that sometimes what I'm doing is quite literally addressing the misinformation that Joe Rogan is spreading, which is part of the reason why whenever people say like, oh, you're the left Joe Rogan, I'm like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Because a big part of what I do and a big part of the reason why a lot of journalists actually appreciate what I do is because there is so much misinformation online, contrary to what like all of the annoying liberals say about how I'm the Alex Jones of the left or whatever. If you actually were to listen to journalists, they have a very different attitude about what I do because they know that a big chunk of my work is to specifically look at misinformation online, address that misinformation, correct the record, and actually show the real news coverage on the matter. Now, of course, real journalists understand that. They see the value in that. They recognize it. But drama slop tubers will turn around and say, I'm, spreading fake news or whatever. Who are you supposed to trust in this process? His marathon streaming sessions are fueled partly by cartons of Zyn, cans of Diet Dr. Pepper, and energy drinks. Mr. Piker, who fasts daily as a part of his fitness routine, usually consumes only coffee until around 2 p.m., when he has his first meal of precisely 1.1 pounds of roasted chicken breast with low-carb pita, meze, and sauces. He says his persona is built upon authentic interest in fitness, culture, style, and politics that he has had throughout his life. Mr. Piker was in a fraternity at Rutgers University, yes, but he also has been a lifelong gamer and anime fan. He moved to the Los Angeles area in 2013 after graduating from Rutgers and telling his parents, both college professors, that he intended to apply to law school. Instead, he got a job in ad sales at the Young Turks, a progressive news network founded by his uncle, the pundit Cenk Uygur. Mr. Piker does not deny that he is a Nepo baby, he said. A perfect society is one in which those types of advantages don't matter, he added. That I also said, that is what I am fighting for. Like this would not, not so fast. Scroll back up to that dirty desk pic, bro. Yeah, it's nasty, I know. Yeah. Shaky Gurga made me, which is not something that I hide, obviously, but it'll be funny when people go, oh my God, he admitted being a Nepo baby. It's like, yeah, I always do. Hello, welcome. By 2016, he was regularly appearing in videos on the Young Turks social media accounts. He started streaming on Twitch 2 years later. Fashion, he said, is something he has loved since he was too big. He was a too big teen growing up in Turkey where he inhaled American culture through TV shows like The Boondocks. Mr. Piker, who is straight, is aware that wearing pearls and painting his nails can suggest otherwise, inviting attention from gay men. Last year, when a gay content creator asked Mr. Piker if he was an ally in an interview at a Pride event in Los Angeles, he jokingly said no, then playfully added, I'm a foe. Mr. Piker then spanked the interviewer, who was wearing an American flag Speedo swimsuit, in front of a bus emblazoned with a logo for Grindr, the gay dating app. Of his image, he said, I don't feel the need to present myself in any way that I am not. Always unfiltered, sometimes extreme. Here we go. You have to have a little bit of sauce in there. You know what I mean? You have to have a little bit. It can't all be glaze and praise. You know, it's the New York Times after all. So let's take a look. Now it gets juicy. Mr. Piker is similarly unfiltered with his viewpoints. Some can be extreme. This is the part that I wanted to mention as far as like, this is the editorial control kicking in the conversation to present it in a balanced fashion. I don't even think this is like off base, by the way. There's only one part of this entire article that I, understand why the New York Times editorial board takes these sorts of decisions on that I obviously disagree with. But overall, I think this is pretty on the level, right? A vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, Mr. Piker has been labeled anti-American by people across the political spectrum for saying the country deserved the September 11 attacks. His recent accusations that Israel is committing genocide in Gaza and his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters of Israel, including liberals like Representative Richie Torres of New York, to call Mr. Piker anti-Semitic. Did you catch the part that I don't think is... This was, and I know for a fact, so there's a full quote from me that Jack got, and I was actually very interested to see how this quote would make its way into the article. And I'm willing to bet that there was probably a lot of back and forth, and it most likely went all the way up the editor chain until they finally arrived at this version as an appropriate way to put in print. Like, because I straight up, you know me. It's not like I, hold back. Do you remember your full quote? My full quote was something along the lines of like, Israel is an apartheid state that is committing a genocide. Something things that I say all the time, things that are the truth. And this is not just my assessment. This is the assessment of international organs of justice, like all this stuff, right? But what's important here is that the New York Times is, they're going to put that in there because that's my opinion. And this is a profile on me, obviously, like, and it's a part of who I am. But it's interesting that like televised baby Holocaust. Now, I'm not going to give a quote to the New York Times where I say this is a live streamed child Holocaust. Like there's a difference, right? Yeah. Ali Abunimah also had this to say. In this generally flattering profile, New York Times labels Hassan the Hun extreme for calling Israel's genocide of Palestinians what it is. Note the quotation marks, which this poisonous propaganda rag uses to try to mainstream genocide denial. So that was the two parts in this that I found to be interesting. What I mean is, and this is not like up to the journalist, like 100%. This is not like the journalist himself is not making this decision. Okay. Straight up. This is, as I've said before, there's always a disparity between the newsrooms and the teams and the editorial team in most publications. And this is a classic example of that. It says encoding in process, new gooch boofing for the settlers, doco. Please react this on only 4 minutes. Can you please stop spamming my Chinese heart AI cover? I'm not going to react to it right now in the midst of me reading this New York Times article. So that's the thing. It's not my accusations that Israel is committing a genocide in air quotes. And I think that right there is the New York Times is like seasoning where they're like, this is fit to print. Like this is his real genuine belief, but we can't put it in there. And his diatribes against the Zionist movement have led many supporters. And by the way, to be fair, like they were much lighter on me than I thought they would be, because I was definitely a little worried when doing this initially, because, the New York Times is, and this has nothing to do with like the actual journalists that work there, right? But the New York Times broadly is, them and the BBC are pretty awful on the issue of Israel. Anyway, I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous, he added. I talked more on this as well. Aside from this, is this where the terrorists gather? Is Luffy still alive? Says Flippy333. No. Don't ban that guy. He's having fun. This is how he chooses to spend his Sunday. Yeah. His video streams are peppered with expletives, vulgarities, and other language that many have disavowed in the name of political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Some have accused him of sharing misinformation on streams, but Mr. Piker says his aim is to provide factual information along with his own views. John Favreau, a founder of the center-left podcast Pod Save America and his liberal parent company Crooked Media, said Mr. Piker's willingness to engage with viewpoints outside his own was another trait that might appeal to young men who had swung towards the right. He wants to reach those people too, Mr. Favreau said. But the way Mr. Piker presents himself could work against him, said Reese Peck, a professor of media culture at the College of Staten Island and the author of Fox Populism, Branding Conservatism as Working Class. He's more events in Soho than he is Eastern Kentucky. As Mr. Peck put it, that bicoastal stylish hip masculinity has its limitations to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. Now, what I find really funny is I don't really go to any events at all, let alone events in Soho, but I get what he's trying to say. Like he's saying I'm a hoity-toity bicoastal elitist, which is true. And it's not something that I hide, right? Ironically enough, it's not something that I hide at all. I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like. And I'm very vocal about it. I always see that as being honest. The irony, of course, is that none of these guys that actually appeal to a lot of the people that live in Eastern Kentucky are in any way, shape, or form from that background anyway, right? And there's plenty of people from Eastern Kentucky, ironically enough, in this community, as a matter of fact. So that's what's really interesting about it, because like it's not like Theo Vaughn. Yeah, Theo Vaughn has that background for sure, Louisiana boy, right? But nowadays, it's not like he's mucking it up and going in the swamp and wrestling gators, right? He's a super famous Hollywood celebrity. You see what I'm saying? And the same goes for Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is an incredibly wealthy person, right? Andrew Schultz and that entire podcast is filmed directly out of the what is the place? The hotel I stayed at as well. It's like the coolest place in New York, or was the coolest place in New York for a little bit. Dime Square, thank you. So none of these guys are actually, directly broadcasting. None of these guys are directly broadcasting from what do you call it? Eastern Kentucky. Oh, you stayed at 9 Orchard, bro? Yeah, I did. Okay. That bicoastal stylish hip masculinity has a limitation to appeal to a broad array of young men, especially working class young men. This part I actually disagree with, because this also, if I were to present myself as something I'm not, then it would be inauthentic. It would also go against like my whole appeal. What you see is what you get. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, there's motherfuckers in the Midwest that like anime too. That's it. I'm not going to flip as an Eastern Kentuckian myself. You get along with us more than others. My Eastern KY peeps, yeah, that's what I mean. Like Trillbillies is a podcast of Eastern Kentuckians who are straight up in Kentucky, right? But I would suspect that, and I love those boys. They're fantastic, right? But I would suspect that, someone like Joe Rogan or Andrew Schultz probably is more prominent in the content consumption of like average Joes that are linemen or work in construction in places like that, right? Like those guys are certainly not more real Appalachians than the Trillbillies boys, right? They're from the heart of Appalachia. So my point is, the working class and their consumption doesn't necessarily the working class and their consumption is not looking for like optics, and that is not who I am anyway. It would be inauthentic if I were to present myself as like, wearing cowboy boots and working a field type. That's what a lot of Republicans do. That's like what Ted Cruz does, Yale graduate, puts on the snakeskin, acts like he's a real salt of the earth kind of guy, flies off to Cancun when his state is collapsing. Clancy Campbell, a 20-year-old fan of Mr. Piker who is studying to become an esthetician, said the difference between Mr. Piker and his right-leaning counterparts could be boiled down to the amount of care and where you put it. With the right-wing media and stuff, they care almost too much about issues that don't matter, he said. With Hasan, it's like he cares, but in the right places. Alec Flynn, a 28-year-old comedian in Los Angeles whose material draws from his life as a straight man, said he did not religiously follow Mr. Piker, but he understood the appeal of Mr. Piker's brand of masculinity. The more authentically yourself you are, the more effective you will be, said Mr. Flynn, who was also in a college fraternity. At the end of the day, he added, people like frat bros. And that's where the article ends. Okay? I work in the Midwest. Most of the coworkers are not fans of the coastal urban cities because of their more liberal social views, but they are pretty leftist either way, with their economic opinions. Yeah. My point is, there isn't really anyone that actually there isn't really anyone that's actually authentically from, Ohio or whatever, that then turns around and makes a podcast. Like, there are some people who I think fit that prototype even better than others. Like, I'd say Shane Gillis and his background. Like, he's now super famous, but I think the reason why he has like broad appeal is because he's just funny. Like, that's it. People only care about that. People care about your output. People care about your likability. People don't necessarily care whether or not you are really from, this background, really from this area or whatever, right? Hank Pecker is the only red-blooded American who's appealed to coal miners, brother. Yeah. I understand the bro framing, but speaking in terms of the cisgender white male that is a huge NFL fan and also a metalhead, the appeal from my perspective was not the culture you consume. No, I think that this scratches the surface of what I do, and I think it's the juxtaposition of like what I look like and how I carry myself as opposed to what I say, right? And I think that is the package in and of itself that plays a role in why I find success. I think one of the best parts of the article is the jock insurance thing, which is I've never thought about it like that. Like I never knew that that's what it was called, but it's something that I've talked about quite a bit. Which is that it's something that I even bring up when I'm talking about like the Andrew Tates of the world, right? It's like people that look like me, people that talk like me. The expectation is I'm supposed to be this like MAGA right-wing guy. I'm supposed to have this machismo, and the only way to showcase my machismo and bravado is by constantly dunking on vulnerable populations to elevate my status. To elevate your status as a byproduct. Like, we're all higher than these losers, these people that just like are weird and gross and them, right? Like people that are vulnerable. And I think that that's lame as I think that that's weak as So, but did they not mention your belief system or your socialism? That's kind of odd. No, they did in the beginning. But men are down bad when one leftist dude is on the New York Times front page. Yeah, I do dunk on vulnerable populations all the time, like gaming frogs. That's true. New York Times somehow believes that one can authentically be working class, a la plaid shirts and cowboy boots, and most conservatives and libs use that aesthetic to appeal in a way that is entirely inauthentic. People aren't stupid. Exactly. It would not be real if I was like, wearing work boots and shit and running around like I'm actually, what is this? Meanwhile, Ethan's New York Times debut. What? Yeah, apparently Ethan is not very happy about this. He is very upset that I got this article written, and he's been posting about it. He's been posting about it since like 6 a.m. our time, which I think is a crazy thing to do when you first wake up. Like, I first woke up and I posted about the article because, it's the article that I was waiting for. I was waiting for it to come out. It's been a long time. The article took place a long time ago. It's odd for him to wake up and also post nonstop. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. As a recent 2 minutes ago, on a multi-story Insta rant, his fluency between culture and ideology has led many to brand Piker or Joe Rogan to the left, and Mr. Rogan had a mop top and painted his nails. Literally nobody says that except those paid by his publicist. I don't have a publicist. My haters can't tell me you're not hot, bro. Jewelry and nail paint, this dude is different. Wow, 10 words you say, and they happen to pick the one. So brave of him to disavow Nepo babies. Oh my God. How can people that are fans of this guy not think, dude, you're 40 years old, you have 3 kids, like, it's Sunday. Just, can't you save this for the show or something? Like, why are you doing this? How can people not recognize how obsessed this is? You mean the dudes that are known for hazing their friends to death and assaulting drunk college girls? Doesn't everyone hate frat bros? He's like dunking on every aspect of the article. Very strange stuff, man. Like, I hope he gets better. Thanks for reading my review. He posted again and said, thanks for reading my review. Dude, oh my God. You don't think the New York Times is trying to make this seem like it's optics and not about issues? It's what they've been doing since election. Dems don't need to fix their policies. They just need a leftist Joe Rogan. And that's what I think this New York Times article was playing up. I think that they're trying to make sense of why someone like myself why someone like myself has seen a lot of success in an otherwise right-wing dominated landscape. And for them, it's like, it can't be the issues at all. So it can't be the issues themselves. It can't be what I'm saying. So it must be like the aesthetic. And to be fair, the way I look does play a role in this, right? The way I look does play a role in this. The packaging certainly is a part of it. Yeah, he placed the laughing, crying emoji over, I guess, my statements about political correctness. He blocks commenters for what he sees as overt hate speech, but not for speaking critically when they challenge his views on topics like transgender rights or the war in Gaza. Yeah, he clipped the, I find anti-Semitism to be completely unacceptable, Mr. Piker said on a call in April. I find the conflation of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism to be very dangerous. He's being especially unhinged because the last episode did very poorly on views because it was the first step in a while, not clickbaiting you or iDubbbz. Yeah, as usual, he puts out the dog whistle on his Instagram stories. Then his rabid fan base starts a harassment campaign. Shame on you. Oh, he's report this trash puff piece to the New York Times editorial board. Thanks for posting first today. This is clearly pushed forward by a publicist working for Hasan to get ahead of any negative publicity. Dude, I don't think these guys understand. They're allowing an email hate brigade on their sub, not linking directly, but I posted a tweet about it. I don't know if these guys understand that like this kind of stuff is very annoying to newspapers in general. You don't come across as like a normal person. And also, this is a direct brigade. Can you stop talking about him? Dude, are you f***ing stupid? Are you actually that stupid that you don't understand what I'm showing here is not just like me doing drama? Like, what are you talking about? This is a direct brigade. Like, this is also literally by Reddit standards not allowed. Like, this is, you're harassing a journalist and you're trying to get a journalist fired for writing a profile on someone you don't like. This is literally Gamergate. This is what Gamergaters were doing for years and years. It's so insane because like every content creator has a decent amount of stalkers, right? But most content creators don't have a stalker that basically makes content off of them stalking like everything that I do. I like you aren't downplaying the positive side of their obsession aesthetic and rapping aside. There's a real benefit to you being given publicity. Negativity be damned. Yeah, because I don't want people to get fired for, I mean, it's not going to happen anyway, but I don't want people to have to deal with like annoying calls and shit like that. Like it's so stupid. It's so lame. You know what I mean? It doesn't play the role they think. I really hate how the DNC was has even independence as far as the majority report talking about messaging when it's a completely vapid party and makes the program very close to his doom. Yeah. No wonder Ethan was so shocked. What is this? We are not a Hasan snark. Over 150 posts in the last 7 days filled with such bangers as Hasan is jealous of Ethan. I can't stop imagining Hasan bringing someone back to his place for the first time. Note the Hasan post of the most engagement. Yeah, they use the subreddit like I mean, it's a snark subreddit for sure. This is not the first time that these guys have done this. Anytime any journalist has ever written anything about me, they have to basically go private for like a week. It's so gross, man. It's crazy because like none of these other, I wish that like other content creators that are in this space would at least pay a little bit of attention to this and be like, all right, man, you know, this is gotten out of hand. Every hater when he talks about you and to respond, oh my God, can you move on? What? Yeah. Reddit is where the niche issues get resolved and where decency goes to die afterwards. Other content creators don't have mainstream news asking for their political opinions. No, I know, but like this is very clearly a major issue, right? On its own, regardless, like this is an extended year-long crash out that has turned into like constant brigading, doxing campaigns, frivolous litigation to get people's private information, to bully them, to harass them, going after Redditors, going after journalists. Like it's so weird. It's so strange that it's just like something that we all have to put up with. Other content creators themselves see this kind of thing and go, ugh, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to incur the wrath of Ethan's foot soldiers. And I feel like that's such a strange, there's just a strange place to exist in where everyone is like, yeah, this stuff is weird and gross, but you know, a lot of people are just like genuinely worried that he will come after them. This is something that happened with Aiden Ross as well initially, you know? Why are you shocked? They did the same with D for 5 years. I know. They are still first world problems though. No, I mean, yeah, that's true, but we are in the first world, you know? I'm trying to put the truth out in the space where people may see it in my free time, but the DDG and E community is legion. It's tough to break through. Yeah. Just remember, it's mostly online. Even though the more we spend time online, the more the shit that we do online becomes the reality. New York Times article title change. What did they change it to? Nobody liked the article title initially, so I'm not surprised. A progressive. Oh my God, they literally changed it to what I just said. A progressive mind and a body made for the manosphere. That's cool. Anyway, I think it was a good article. Obviously, Jack's the man, by the way. He was dope. He was great. And I hope that he doesn't get a lot of harassment, you know.